You know, they say for every person in the world, even though it may not be completely true, but they say that there's somebody for everybody, or somebody's going to love you or hook up with you, regardless of who you are, how you look, how tall you are, how heavy or skinny you might be as a person, your economical status being poor, working poor, up the echelon, or even dirt poor. There's always somebody for everybody. That's pretty much the consensus of most people I've been around, or even to each his own. They've used that expression as well. But as it relates to this particular subject, and it's really regarding women that live in the hood, that were pretty much raised in the hood. And most of you all understand that expression, hood, and what it refers to. The ghetto, some might say, project women, poor black neighborhoods, communities of poor blacks and even poor whites on some level. Would you hook up? Or would you think that you could possibly marry a woman from the hood? A hood woman, guys? Or do you have such standards that will not allow you to hook up and then marry a woman like that? And ladies, if you are hood, or you consider yourself as hood or a project girl, would you be seeking out a husband? And what's the likelihood of you finding a husband or somebody who would want to marry you if you are from the hood? And just in general, to all of you that are watching, wherever you find yourself in the social world, can you see yourself marrying a girl from the hood? Is she marriage material? What comes along with that mindset or that mentality in the hood? You know, I heard an expression many years ago. This young lady made the statement. It was a black girl. She said, I may have been born in the ghetto, but the ghetto ain't in me. I understood where she was coming from. Makes perfectly good sense. In other words, all of the negative things associated with being born in poverty, being on government assistance and so forth, even though that was your reality, you don't see yourself being perpetually in that situation. You believe and hope that one day that you will elevate from that status, so to speak, and maybe go to college, further your education, open a business at some point in your life, or work for 10, 15, 20 years at a company, hopefully. That's the way most people used to think anyway. But here personally, nowadays, I don't think the joining on to corporations and companies nowadays and thinking that you're going to be there for 20, 30 years, that's information and a belief system of the past that no longer exists. Especially with today's world and everything being information age. Everything is digital now. You have to educate yourself in this particular new reality called the digital society in our world if you expect to compete. A lot of folks out here. So getting back to the ghetto girl, what's some downsides to being ghetto? What's the downside? Well, first of all, before we get to the downside, I believe that there are some people, some women that are really nice, really pleasant, may have been raised with some fairly decent standards, principles from their mother, father, or both, that grew up in the hood or the projects. All people living in the projects for many years are not bad people. I hate to use that expression, bad. They're not people that you have to pause and wonder if they could be a potential threat to anyone on some level. But the downside is what I was going to get to as far as the hood girls is concerned. From my experience and what I've seen with hood women is the language. I don't particularly subscribe to, even though I understand where people are coming from, the conversation coming from a girl like that or a woman like that. You know, one expression that I've seen develop over the past decade at least that really turns me off, coming from a woman, a black woman. Bruh. What's up, bruh? A woman talking to another woman, black woman, in most instances, and then a woman talking to a guy. Hey, bruh. I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm not your bruh. That is totally non-feminine. That display. Bruh. A woman, bruh. I don't even say bruh to another man. I'll say brother before I say bruh. I don't like it. Ebonics, if you will. I believe that there is an acceptable exchange of language in my mind. Not to say that you can't use some slang depending on where you are, but for the most part you should have better diction. How you phrase words and your expressions, how you articulate. A woman talking to me, and I've seen guys say this as well. I seen you the other day. Excuse me? You seen me. I seen you. That word's not even in the dictionary. I seen you. I saw Charlie across the street the other day, and then I seen his brother. You seen his brother. Okay. To hear women talk like this, bad enough again if a guy talks like that. But a woman talking like that, or a woman who walks around more manlier than I am, I don't like that. She's not marriage material. And if I didn't already allude to it or point it out directly, the woman and her expressions when she's talking to a man, she's not marriage material. And a woman who curses like a sailor when she's just having general conversation, is this bitch here, this hoe that, and kiss my so-and-so, and using the S word and MF. A black woman talking like that, especially to her children, and I've seen this happen more than I care to even think about how often I've seen it, and it's been quite a bit. Black women cursing out their children, all the way down to 5 and 6 year olds. You cursing at your children, she's definitely not marriage material. Not for me. And a woman that every other word out of her mouth has something to do with what she wants you to do for her, but she doesn't know how to condescend or reciprocate kindness, consideration, courtesy, that which you may be expressing to her. Anyway, guys, those of you that may be watching this right now, are you a high quality guy? Or at least do you have high expectations of yourself? And you would not want a woman who's only finished the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, maybe 10th grade of high school and went no further? Who can't even formulate a sentence? and every other sentence is profanity? Or a woman who's on the phone talking to someone and she's in her feelings. Her emotions are on her sleeve and she's screaming and yelling into the phone, cursing because she can't deal with whatever the issue is. She's definitely not marriage material either. A woman who hangs out in the street, you can never really pinpoint her or hold her down. She can't stay in the house for a significant amount of time with her family. She's always on the go. She's not marriage material either. A woman that the only entertainment to her is in her cell phone. She's always, throughout the whole day. Now, I could see a teenager, but even a female, a black female teenager needs to have better guidance than that. But generally what happens is that that teenager grows up to be an older version as an adult with the same bad or poor habits. Women have a tendency that come from the ghetto or that live in the hood and raised in the hood, if you will. Project girl again. They have a tendency, to not respect men, not respect even authority. The slightest thing sets them off. They believe that they're always right or should be right, and there's never any compromise. That type of woman there, she's not marriage material either. Now, I've heard women in the ghetto talk about my fiance, for real, or we're going to get married in a year or two. What exactly are you bringing to the table, ladies? Those of you that come up in the projects. Now, let me qualify something here real quick. This does not apply to all black women that grow up and live in the projects or in the poor community for a long period of time. This doesn't apply to all of you, but it does apply, from my experience, it applies to most of you. There are exceptions. There's exceptions in everything, and this is no different. There are women who will make a good wife that comes up under these circumstances, but by no means is this the majority. The majority are not the married type, or not the type for marriage, in other words. Had I to do it all over again as far as marriage and relationships, I definitely would not marry a girl from the hood. I want someone with some ambition, with some hopes and some dreams, and not just simply in theory. I like the application. At least behave or act as though you want something out of life. Govern yourself accordingly. Don't just simply say, one day I'm going to be, but you're not putting forth any effort to get there or to set out on your journey. You're just talking. Everybody can throw words in the air and say what they want to do and where they want to be in life. But it doesn't ring true without the effort. People have more respect for you when they see you doing the thing. So, guys, if you value yourself, and if you have standards, principles, ethics, or morals, and you consider yourself a high value or a high quality man, would you marry a girl from the projects? Would you marry a girl from the hood? A place that is always demonized with people who always smoking and drinking and doing drugs, hanging in the streets, loud, rude, obnoxious, destroying the community in which they live. And again, that's not everyone and that's not every place, but that's the vast majority of hoods. So guys, high quality, high value guys, would you marry a woman like that? And women who live in that situation, do you want to get married? Or do you think some guy would want to marry you if you're poor? Working poor or very poor? Working poor could be someone who works at a restaurant, at the drive-thru, as a cashier, or someone working in housekeeping in a hospital or some company, or maybe even a factory or a nursing home. Working poor, where every check matters. And if you miss a check, you could possibly be on the street. That type of woman. Do you think a man would want to marry you, a man of value? And ladies, do you believe that you are a woman of value? And if so, what would you be bringing to the table? And by no means is this an attempt to degrade anyone. I'm not blaming anyone for anything. I'm just asking a question. Are women, black women more specifically, that are born and in some instances raised and living in poor communities, projected type of communities, do they make good wives? Are they marriage material? That's the question. Please let me know if you fit the bill, if you've ever been in this situation before, and if you had ever gotten married, or you know someone who did live in this circumstance or condition who got married, or who is even still married, and the marriage is going well. I would appreciate it. Leave it in the comment section below. It's Brother Teacher. I'm out.